Hey, I'm Simone.
And I'm Jess. We're two long-distance best friends who are states away.
But our bond has never been closer. From spirituality to spirited conversations,
we're here to share them with you.
So welcome to Fly Talks.
Come fly with us for a bit.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. Long time no see. Long time no speak.
What's tea?
I mean, we've spoken. We just haven't been here. So
yeah, totally.
All right, Joe. So we are back, and this is crazy. This is our first episode in the year of 2025.
Oh yeah! Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, everybody!
Happy New Year! You like that?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
So we wanted today, kind of a variation of different conversations, but I think what we have been discussing most between Simone and I has just been what it is that we want to pursue in 2025, what it is that we are interested in growing within ourselves, just expansion. And we kind of wanted to have a conversation that kind of let us manifest. Okay, wow. That let us
vibe. I'm not gonna lie. Manifestate, period. That's right, Mama. Call them
please. Please. Okay, shit. All right. So a conversation that allows us to manifest what it is that we want. I think that, me personally, I do still believe that some things are sacred in regards to what it is that you speak to God, but I do think there also is a power into speaking things into existence. So we're on the middle ground.
I agree. Yeah, I think for me, when you talk about like speaking things into existence, I do think there are certain parts of the plan that you don't really speak on because one level is that you don't want people in your business because there are some people who don't want to see you win. And so you do have to be mindful about who you're speaking to. Mm-hmm. But also I think there is power in like saying to God, saying to the universe, like, this is what I want. This is what I'm ready for. Mm-hmm. And declaring it because, I'm somebody, I believe in the law of attraction, which is essentially like what you put out comes back to you. So if you're putting out like, oh, I'm worried for this year, I don't know what's happening this year, blah, 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 then that's going to be what comes to you in the new year. Mm-hmm. But when you're speaking like, this is my year of freedom, this is my year of joy, of success, of abundance, of increased creativity and authenticity, then that's what you welcome.
So it's kind of like, it's kind of more general than it is specific in terms of, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, you can get general with the universe, but you get specific with God internally.
You listen, I started off this year. I know like people have their what is it? Like their New Year resolution.
Resolutions, yeah.
So I decided to not make any in like firm ways, and we had discussed this, but I did want to, 1, focus on my health, 2, expand my finances, and then 3, guess I didn't want it that bad, but that's what I was thinking.
Right, those are good. You started off all right. Yeah, I like it. I'm fucking with it. Me personally.
You know what I'm saying? But okay, we'll get into that. But yeah, I said that to say, I was saying that I started reading my Bible at the top of the year. And I haven't been consistent with it, let's all tell the truth. But it is something that I'm trying to be consistent with. So that was my third and should have been my first, but proceed.
Yeah, I think increased spirituality is a very important goal. And I think it should be for a lot of us, especially with what's happening in the world right now. There's a lot that's like very counterproductive to what many of us, especially Black women, have been like working to build. And so I think there is a need for increased faith and trusting that God is going to show up in the way that we need for ourselves. And so I think part of that, at least for me, is like staying focused on my goals. And I think the more like aligned we are with our lives' purposes, the more we can contribute positively to the collective and to the community, you know? And, you know, there's this idea, I was talking about this before, but because so many self-help books are written by men,
Mm,
I think the idea, because men are very much like egocentric, and so they kind of focus on
mm,
themselves, and so their guides are telling them to give to everybody.
mm,
Versus women, we are naturally giving to everyone. And so the way, instead of shifting into that, because that is what's like told, like give to the community, be present in the community, all these things, and that's important, but that's what women do naturally. We're connectors naturally. But I think we really need to shift to caring for ourselves at this point, because that is how we can make things happen in our own lives and then spread that to those around us, you know?
yeah, I think, like, in all transparency, y'all, our pause started, and we didn't want to give it too much, but we decided to really give ourselves time to breathe with the election.
Hmm.
Um, I think when that day came and we realized the world is, it just solidified a lot of things that you didn't want to be true, but just are
Yeah.
in terms of the world that we're in. And I think it really did set a standard in terms of what a conversation Simone and I had. And I think that's been happening amongst Black women is really, once again, self care is so overused, but if you are doing it right, it matters and
Hmm.
it is always applicable. It's just something that will never get old, and there's new ways to do that. So I think for Simone and I, we kind of were like, oh, maybe we should talk about it, yada yada, and then we were like, no, we are going to rest, recoup, um, solidify ourselves with God, and kind of adjust to certain things that are happening. And I think we've done that, and I think we're better for it.
Yeah. For sure. I definitely, there's been a major overhaul of Black women being like, y'all, sit y'all asses down.
Count me, Michelle Obama. I'm not coming.
I'm not coming.
Coming. I'm
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 not.
not.
I
I'm
won't
not.
be there. I
Man,
especially we are like, and it's been I love that we've been referring to ourselves as 92 percenters because 92% of us voted for Kamala Harris.
come
So
on.
the 92 percenters, sit,
Sit it out.
sit your ass down. We focusing on each other. We're giving back to each other. I'd actually made a video about this on TikTok, about especially when it came to like the TikTok ban and everybody was freaking out, and I'm like, I have to remind every Black woman, sit your ass down and don't say nothing. Let them figure it out. Let them figure
Let
it out.
them
Let them figure it
figure
out.
it out. And then it's like, it's almost, and I don't want to get too political. So, you know what? What I'm going to do,
Mhm.
just like you said, is recenter and kind of like the way that we fight against always being the people that have to stand up and stand out and advocate. This is our self advocacy. So I
Mhm.
think by speaking so highly of what it is that we want to accomplish and what it is that we want to do, that's us uplifting each other. And I think the only thing, from Black woman to Black woman, support each other,
Support.
whatever it is.
That's it.
Adventures, like personal pursuits, whatever it is. I think it is an applaud year of
Mhm.
just like, you see a Black woman doing her thing, just, we know how hard it is.
We know how hard it is. Exactly. I think that's such a good point. Like we really do, we could really use the support, and unfortunately it's not going to come like from a majority standpoint, it's not going to come from outside of our community. It's just not. And to be honest, we've known that, but we still attempt to uplift everyone because that's what we desire.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, listen, we can have us for now, and those who are riding with us can show up in any way that they, if they need to. But other than that, I know that we got us.
Yeah. We have to.
We
And
have to.
it's like hard. I guess it's hard not to, I'm on the fence, right?
Mhm.
Because I'm between two places of sitting out of politics, which I know is the right thing to do, but also being aware because you still have to step into the world.
Yeah.
And there was almost a point, like even when it came to the inauguration, and I guess we're here, we can just
Why
go
not?
ahead
Why
and let
not?
it go.
Shit.
But when it came to the inauguration, which happens to fall on today,
Which
and
is
also
January 20th, which
which is
MLK Day.
MLK Day, and someone had said that crossover to me, like, "Oh, isn't it ironic?" And I've been so protective of myself and my spirit that I was like, people have been talking about it. I wasn't even tapped into that exact cross because
Mhm.
I was like, I am exhausted. And you want to be educated, but you also want to be able to self-protect. So I don't know, but I will say that it's sad. And
Yeah.
I don't want to sit in it, but it's sad.
It's
It's
sad,
sad.
it's disappointing. It's like, oh my God, are you okay?
I said,
No.
I
She said,
told
I'm literally sad. I'm about to knock this shit over.
he said, I told you, black girl.
Exactly. But
Shut your
yeah,
shut your ass.
right. But
Um,
it's sad, it's disappointing, it's overwhelming. And I think we deserve the space to express that. And
yeah.
I think we have been expressing that. Thank goodness. I know that the initiatives that I'm a part of, the collectives that I'm a part of, and even the friend, like our friendship, we give
Yeah.
ourselves room to be like, bitch, I'm irritated and I'm annoyed that this shit is happening. And so this is also that space to do that. But additionally, we are also here to help you ascend and fly, which is why we're called Fly Talks. And so we
Period.
are moving through it with grace, with ease. Like, regardless of what the world looks like, this is still our year of ease and
Mm,
growth.
mm,
And like, there's someone that I follow named Titi Uwagbai.
mm.
And she's like a motivational speaker. And she has been very adamant about this is freedom 2025. This is the year of freedom. This is the year
Ooh,
to fly. And as
ooh.
much as the world is showing the opposite of that, we still have our own personal goals and initiatives for us to ascend and grow and elevate and be more authentic in who we are. And so that's what, at least that's one of my goals. Like, I have my goals for this year. Actually,
Yeah,
should I share them? Do you have like
girl. Yeah, tell
um
me. Tell me these goals, babe.
yeah, I have like 5 areas that I'm working to build,
Mm,
which is the first one is my career,
hmm.
second is money, third productivity, 4 love and relationships, 5 life and family growth.
So everything.
Family
You're
and life.
coming for everything.
Everything. Like, I just feel like, and these are actionable steps. It's like like, I know me, I've forgotten that we're only 20 days into the new year. Like, it's because so much has
Mm,
happened in like the first month. It feels overwhelming. Like, what the hell? But we are only 20 days
and
into the new year. We have the entire year ahead of us. So I think when there is so much calamity going around, it's easy to lose sight. And so
mm,
I have my goals. My first for my career, the vision for this year is to establish myself as a creative, authentic storyteller and inspirer through, my social media platforms and like all the things that I'm going for. And so that's a big thing. And then money, of course, is like continue or establishing financial stability and financial freedom in
hmm.
slow and steady ways. Um, what was the last one? Productivity was to have a set schedule to align
Mm,
with every day, or at least one that can flow with my moods. Because here's the thing about me, okay?
mm, hmm.
I'm a moody bitch.
Yeah,
I be switching. I be switching day in, day out. Who knows? In a
girl.
matter of 30 seconds, I might be in a different mood.
Right.
But but it's not something to fight against. It's more so to flow with. And so, like,
Mm,
that's where the authenticity comes in, and like finding ways to create a work schedule and a content schedule that flows with that, and it gives me the room to like feel those moods and let them be what they are.
mm,
Relationship wise is to establish deeper connections to attract my soulmate energy,
yeah,
because like I deserve love,
yeah, yeah.
and that also means opening my heart and being like willing to get to know people on a deeper level.
Mm,
And then last one is like family growth is to it kind of goes into relationships as well. They kind of like it's like a bridge, but
mm,
I have been wanting to be closer to my family because I have like a
yeah.
whole group of cousins and we're around the same age.
Mm,
And so like and we're all getting older, like they all have kids, and it's like I want us to like get back connected because we were close when we were younger. And then life growth is to continue to honor my intuition and use that to guide me along my path and increase my spiritual connection with God.
I think because you said a lot, which is phenomenal. And
You
what
said a
I
lot. Shut up. I'm just kidding. You
no
actually talked a lot.
no we don't silence at Fly Talks.
I
We
know that's right.
expand.
We're
Period.
yappers.
We're chatter. I was just about to say we're chatters.
Chatters.
Um, but I think what you are saying that's so powerful is using what you know about yourself to be influential and to be successful, right? Like kind of what you were saying about knowing that you are emotional, knowing you maneuver off of feelings. But I think we are so accustomed to trying to fit in to what everybody else, okay, 9 to 5, I have to do this at 12, 1, 2, like the power. And I think that's what I'm bringing into and calling God for is just
Yeah.
freedom.
Yeah, that's it.
Freedom,
That's
but
it.
also the maturity to work for myself and not work against myself, because with that freedom you also have choices. So it's just like this big thing when it comes, and I think this circles into, like we said, we were going to talk about creativity, and I think that circles into, okay, so two things.
Mm-hmm.
I have ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
other mental health things we discussed. And I remember one of my therapists basically telling me, okay, if this is how you're feeling, because it's cyclical, if you look at a calendar and know you feel this way on the 25th every single day, let's say it's your period every single month, you are working against yourself if that is the week that you pack your schedule, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, like you said, you don't judge the way that you show up or you process. You use it to empower you. And
Mhm.
let's say you're not a morning person, don't use the morning when you have that freedom. Don't use
Yeah.
the morning, but routine is important. And from whatever hours you give yourself to work, you better work. And that's my prayer. Is just, but I think I'm building that muscle and that discipline, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think part of freedom, because you mentioned freedom, we both mentioned freedom, is like freedom also includes, or one of the aspects of freedom is authenticity and like being true to yourself. And
Mhm.
so, like you said, when you try to fit yourself into a box, you're working completely opposite. And then you wonder why you're not feeling fulfilled and why it
Mhm.
doesn't feel right for you. And a lot of us are afraid to like be authentic because how the world works is like
Yeah.
authenticity is second tier. You need to be productive and efficient first. And it's like,
Mhm.
what does productivity and efficiency look like
Yeah.
for if it looks like that for other people, that don't mean it needs to look like that for me. And I think
Mhm.
because so much of the world is on a 9 to 5 schedule, it's hard for people to find their authenticity because they've been trained in that specific mode.
Yeah.
And so they don't know that they could do something different and also still be productive. And so like I'm grateful and I'm very privileged to not have a 9 to 5 or a typical mode of like making my money. And
Mhm.
so while I'm in this, it's like why not make it work for myself and see what that, how that potentially um it works to improve my productivity, but also that means more career opportunities can come because I'm working in alignment with me. And then it feels right. And then I can attract more of what I want and need?
Mhm. Yeah. I think there's such power. Like, I know for me personally, God, I feel like this is my year, and every year is my year, but I feel like this is my year of freedom because I am seeing myself following routine, schedule. I'm just seeing myself more disciplined now than I've ever been. And because I've kind of always needed that, like 9 to 5 has helped me in terms of you have to,
Yeah.
right? Like you
Mhm.
just have to. And I think God is strengthening that muscle in me, because if it was based off of like how I would navigate my day and the things that I prayed for prior to being prepared, I was more so like, okay, I'll have the day to myself. I'm a writer. It's free. And what? You sleep till 2. You don't get anything done till like there still has to be, it's what you asked for. You know what I mean? Like it's what you prayed for, it's what you wanted. And I'm so grateful to God. And I think we're saying very similar things about ourselves. We're very similar. I'm just grateful to God that he is developing my mind before he's giving me that opportunity so that I don't fail. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
Like he's setting me up to, and this conversation, it might seem so simple to maybe like type A personalities or like people who are very ordered, but I think naturally as creatives, we're always everywhere, you know? And I think our
Absolutely.
biggest thing is structure, like
Absolutely.
biggest thing. So I think, like you said, using it to work for us, and also like he's building my responsibility and my ability to be like, okay, this is what you prayed for. If they do give you the opportunity, let's say you work from home or you get everything that you wanted, there's still going to be deadlines. There's still going
Mhm.
like there's still going to be things that are mandatory. And I think he's really just showing me like, if you could do it, and we black, if you could do it for the white man, do it for your fucking self. Like that,
I'm
that's
just saying.
it's just
I'm
what
just saying.
you know what I'm saying. And I hate to
Now,
say it like that, but like we bust our asses for corporate America, a lot of us. And it's when God allows you to have that time for yourself, work like work like you want your freedom, like freedom and work hand in hand. And I'm starting to see it. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. And when you give yourself the space to be creative and you set that schedule for yourself, that's where your best ideas come in. And I
Mhm.
think also too, it's hard to differentiate and not give so much of your energy to like your corporate or your 9 to 5 while also like saving space for yourself to
Yeah.
create for your own personal endeavors. But I
Mhm.
think one thing that I'm learning is the law of detachment in the sense
Mhm.
that like that's that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put too much of me into that. I'm not going to work my ass off at this job when I
Mhm.
could be working my ass off doing what makes me feel fulfilled. And
Yeah.
like, it's about delegating those things and
Yeah.
figuring out what works for you and how to, separate the two. And like I said, I don't have the typical relationship to working,
Mhm.
but I at least know that there are certain things that, yeah, like I might have to get a job to make money
Yeah.
for myself, but that doesn't mean that I can't put effort into my creativity. You just got to find a way to separate them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's why, like, so side note, a lot of creatives may have ADHD and most likely do
Mhm.
statistically.
Mhm.
I just started medication, which also helped me focus. So in one way, it's this enlightenment. But in the second way, it is just really the result of being medicated and having the capacity to do things.
Mhm.
So it's also just opening my eyes and giving me the stamina to actually match my actions to my wants. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And
Mhm.
I think before it, I was really in a space where something, it just wasn't adding up. But I also am thankful to God because like, so you know how we were saying like this is a new year, we were going over the things that we want, and a big part of what I do as a writer is I always go back through my journals, the things that I've written, and I'm in a place where I'm not judging myself,
Mhm.
and I can see that everything that has happened that's a part of my journey has led me here. And I really do feel like this year I have all of my tools in my toolbox. You know,
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
feel like I don't know. I can go on and on, but I'm gonna pass it to you because it's like it
No, that makes
really,
sense. That makes
yeah.
sense. I have a question. So, I think because we live in a capitalist society, it is assumed that creativity has to be something that makes you money.
Hmm.
So, I'm curious to know, how do you plan to have fun with your creativity?
Ooh, I think okay. So this is kind of like what I was talking about with like God aligning my actions and my words. So
Mhm.
when if you would have asked me when I was younger, and I first started writing and I like was in it, I would be like, I don't have to make money
Mhm.
creatively. Like
Mhm.
I would go to work, I didn't make a lot of money. This was right after graduation, but it really did feed me to
Yeah.
just be creative and to do these things. I didn't need anything from it, right? But now that I'm grown and I have bills and I have responsibilities, there has to be, I'm not saying you have to be paid to be creative, but
Mhm.
if it is your desire to live that way and for that to be what your life looks like, which is mine, it
Mhm.
does have to be lucrative, right?
Mhm.
So I think like the balance that I'm experiencing is basically creating authentically.
Mhm.
Like I'm not forcing anything, I'm not doing anything for money, which is where corporate quote unquote America comes in, because it allows me to be creative because it's not the source of my stability in my life. So when I had that pressure, and let's say when I wasn't working at a certain point in time, I'm like, okay, you need to write a book, you need to do this, you need to do that. And that's not where my art comes from. So for me, now that I'm now that I'm working, I'm able to support myself. It gives me it gives me a detachment from my creativity being lucrative,
Mhm.
but it also will be lucrative because it is authentic. Like, I don't really
Yep.
know how to explain it, but
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
and we always talk, you and I talk about that. It's like when you're they talk about the hierarchy of needs. When your stability is threatened, you're not creative. Like it's
Mhm.
just the reality of it.
Mhm.
So I think it's been very helpful, and I think I'm just learning how it's teaching me how to organize. It's teaching me, like you said, though, to separate work from creative, but it helps me creatively, if that
Yeah.
answers the question.
I think that makes perfect sense. I think there is a personal freedom when you're not relying on your creativity to feed you.
Mhm.
And so you can have more fun with it, and you can mess up and start over 50 million times because it's not that. And that's not to say that, you have to be like working in a field that's not enjoyable to you in order for you to be able to be creative. You can find a
Right.
job that you love and also be creative at the same time. But I do think when you take the pressure off of creativity, it really does become more enjoyable and fun. And then you can find that spark and that passion. And like you said, you can end up the most authentic pieces of art are the ones that make you money. And if you're doing it just for the sake of being to building your capital, then like people gonna sense that it's like, oh, it's a money grab. Like you grifting at this point, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
It's kind of like honestly. Oh no, go ahead. You got it.
No, no, no. Go. I see it in your eye.
Well, I was gonna talk about the B Simone thing, right?
What's
Um,
going on? Okay, go ahead, because I don't
because
know.
you don't know, yeah. So pretty much, she just said like, um, I don't need to be around people who are reading their horoscope every day.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I
and
saw
like
that.
I just want somebody who knows I don't want to know what Aries says. I want to know what Matthew 2 and 2 says, which is crazy because
Mhm.
that verse was actually one about um finding Jesus through stars, which was
Mhm.
really funny. Everybody's like, how ironic is it
Right.
for you to say that?
Right.
But you can tell when someone's like pandering to a group of people because
Mm.
it'll bring them some type of lucrative
Mm.
result. And so it's like when you're too busy trying to grasp at straws,
Yeah.
people can tell, people can feel that. Nobody's like, oh, you know what? I see what she means. It's like, oh, she's saying that so that she can get a new audience, you know? So that's just an example.
Yeah, like you can feel when people quote unquote sell their souls. And I think it's like it is also about what it is that you create, right? Because we're all different creatives. But I think like for me, once again, writing, etc., it's like you have to live, you have to go through things. And I say this all the time because there was a point where I was like, okay, I should be writing, I should be doing this. And it's like, what are you writing about if you are not present in your life?
Hmm.
So it's like I think I've spent the last year having it feels like it feels like a cycle, but I feel like I've had the last couple months, like just the heartbreak, just the things that you would write about. I feel like that is also reoccurring in my life. So I feel like that's also where my creativity is fueling from now too, because I feel more connected to be creative ever than before.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I'm excited to see how it shows up in this new year for
Hmm.
you. For I mean, for me, for us, for the collective.
Yeah.
Um, I do feel like there's a shift in terms of like it's almost like the world is going this way, and there's everybody else is like, actually, I'm pushing against that tide. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a lot of just like act completely going against the current
Hmm.
because the current is so strong right now. Like energetically, I feel like it's like pushing everybody to the point where so many people are like worried and stressed and like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And I do think what is needed for us at this point is to keep our eyes like ahead on our goals, like have tunnel vision at this point. Like it could be people in your ear telling you that you can't make it, but it's literally about having that inner strength and that remembering your why, and like,
Hmm.
keeping steadfast to your promises to yourself, and yeah.
I think that remembering your why is so powerful
Yeah.
because we get so, and I have said this a long time ago, like we start to forget that our creativity is a gift from God,
Mhm.
and it becomes ego,
Mhm.
and it becomes this thing that we think that we are so powerful in.
Mhm.
And when you're not connected, you can almost lose it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it either turns into something you don't recognize, or it's just like you said, not authentic. Um, I don't know where I was going with that, but you
No,
proceed.
it's fine. So the thing, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I do agree. I think creativity is an energy, and I feel like
Mhm,
energy is a part of like divine interaction in your life. Like that's
mhm,
a part of spirituality is creativity, like you said. And so, like me and my chakra knowledge
mhm,
part. So creativity is also um pleasure energy at the same time. And
mhm,
so it's like if you are not enjoying life and finding ways to have fun and be free and be playful, your creativity becomes inhibited. Like it's the sacral chakra, which is
mhm,
like your one of your bottom. Ooh, I keep touching this. It's one of your bottom three
mhm,
chakras. And so part of you being grounded and rooted in who you are also means having the ability and the desire to enjoy life. And I
mhm,
think because of the way the tide is turning societally, it's focused less on fun and excitement and more
mhm,
on like this boring, mundane, specific ideology of how life is supposed to go. And so I think on top of like creativity being a gift from God, it is also a reason for you to continue to enjoy life
mhm,
because that is where a lot of your ideas come from. It's enjoying life and figuring things out and like being playful and spontaneous and like moving and flowing with everything. Like it's also water energy too. And so I think that is also how we can cultivate more creativity in our lives, is to like find enjoyment in the things that we do,
yeah.
and laugh and have fun and go out and socialize and mingle and like share your energy with others, because that's how you kind of get it back and you can create something from that.
Mm. I was thinking of flipping the question that you
Mhm.
had asked me because we're in opposite situations.
Mhm.
So, with your freedom and with that time that you have, how do you manage to, once again, like make your creativity work for you in regards to that still being attached to being lucrative,
Yeah.
but also like just knowing what to do with your free time. How do you balance that? How are you balancing that? Is it challenging? Just what is it looking like, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. Um because part of me doesn't want to have to like rely on my creativity for you know, money, because like that's literally what I just said.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's not fun, it's not easy, and it's not um the full desire, but also I am using this as a privilege. Like I get the opportunity to create all day.
Mhm.
And so um it takes me reframing my scenario and like finding joy in it, and also looking at different avenues through which I can continue to enrich myself, where I can make that money, where my creativity isn't my sole focus. Like for example, I'm considering and most likely will be going back to school.
Come
And
on,
so
girl.
it's like,
Yeah,
they say
yeah.
black women sitting in the middle of the day. I think I'm
What
gonna go back to
degree?
school. I
What's
think
my
I'm gonna go back to school.
degree for real? Yes, yes.
So I think that's where my head is. And so that's also a way where, you know, money that'll pay for my cost of living while also getting my education. And I do and that's a way for me to be free to create and also learn. Cause I mean, I love learning. I'm a scholastic bitch on top of being a creative bitch. Like I
Yeah,
love knowledge.
yeah.
And so I'm excited to see how that will positively affect me, you know,
Mhm.
and give me the room to expand my mind while also putting out more into the universe. And the thing is this, like, I don't necessarily want to work a 9 to 5. I really don't.
Mhm. Mhm.
I am open to things that will make me money in the short term because
Mhm.
like money makes the world go around and I can't just, I got stuff I want to do. You feel
Yeah,
me? Like,
yeah.
and so I'm still like searching for avenues that feel aligned to me.
Mhm.
Um, but it's also just about having faith and trusting the process. Like I do feel like I'm on the other side of my big break.
Mm, mhm.
Or I'm like about not the other side, but I feel like I'm coming up to it. Um, and also me having that mindset and in excited expectancy for it to happen is
Mhm.
like gearing the universe and gearing God to be like, all right, she's ready. And so it's been me posting on social media more often. It's been me like, you know, I've been going on TikTok live. Like there's just been more things that I've been excited to do and showing up and being like, all right, this is my time. Because I mean, I can't see myself being a 9 to 5 girly. I just
Mhm.
can't. But I
Mhm.
will if that means that that will help me on my creative journey. So I'm open. And at the same time, I'm like excited for
Yeah.
what feels more aligned to me. You know what I mean?
I mean, you have the gift that everybody prays for, which is time.
Right.
You know
Time.
what I mean? Like
Exactly. Exactly.
you have the gift that everybody prays for, and it just goes back to that conversation of productivity during that time and
Right.
working for yourself and keeping yourself to that standard that
Hmm.
you would anywhere else. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like even with school, like you would have to be there on time. Like just there's
Hmm.
just certain stuff that's like although it really is it can be tiring. It can also be so much of a blueprint for
Hmm.
how you are supposed to operate to produce something. You know what I mean? Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. It's like this is the training I'm going to need for like the things that I want to do. And
Mhm,
a part of me is like partially, I don't want to say egocentric, but I'm in my own head a lot. And I'm used to being by myself and
mhm,
I isolate and I get in these bubbles where like I just am focused on myself.
mhm,
And so there are levels to the things where it's like, I can kind of do whatever I want. Can't nobody tell me nothing.
mhm,
But I think there are ways that like I can be more open to the fact that not everything is going to be exactly how I do it or how
mhm.
I want it to be done, but being open to the fact that like structure is needed like for structure is necessary regardless of what like avenue I go down. Like it's just it's needed, you know? So this is me building myself up in that aspect.
I was the whole time I was just thinking like, girl, I'm a Sagittarius and a creative. Like I know
Right.
like when
Exactly.
I tell you, and I told Simone this the other day, like structure was it was my one thing that was beating my ass. It wasn't talent, it wasn't ability, it wasn't anything. It was structure. And I was telling Simone the other day, like one of my goals, fitness. And I just, in my brain, my Sag brain, I'm just like, I don't want to go to the gym. This seems hard. I don't want to do it that way. And we had a conversation because I was just like, I want to dance. I'm not a
Mhm.
dancer, y'all, by any means. But I was like, there's other ways to hit the target,
Mhm.
but also do it in a way that's enjoyable. And I think that is the reality of work life balance or creativity, is like things still have to get done,
Mhm.
but like you said, it's the way you approach it. There's different options to what it is that you choose to do. Like for example, when it comes to work, we've had this conversation. You could be at a bar, you could be like there's different locations that can feel less painful but also have the same result. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just interesting. And I I don't know. There's a lot of light bulbs clicking in this season. But
Mhm.
to ask you, we were talking about what it is that we're manifesting.
Mhm.
What is it that you want? Like, if your life were to look like what you wanted it to be, what would your day look like?
What would my day look like?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I mean, I'd probably meditate for an hour every morning.
Period.
I'm not gonna lie, I will sit. I actually had to limit not limit, but I had to time myself because I will sit with God for like an hour and a half.
But that is the beauty in what we are saying. There's
Yeah.
24 hours in
Yeah.
a day. You can
Yeah.
sit with God for an hour and a half. Don't let it work against yourself.
That is
Put it
true.
on the calendar. Like, you
That
know
is
what I mean? Like, you know?
that's a fact. You're absolutely
Mhm.
right. I've been like integrating that more. Like I'll make my coffee in the morning. I'll like journal, listen to my frequency music, and then like meditate and pull a
Mhm.
card for myself. Like there, it's a ritual. Like it's a schedule, a routine that I follow because it is what grounds me, so that I can make
Mhm.
my day the best day that it can be. Um, I've also recognized the importance of like batch creating content, of course, for myself. And I used
Mm.
to do it a lot more, but
Mhm.
like I'm recreating that and like adding that back into my life. Because the thing is,
Mhm.
if I film 5 videos in a day, that's content for the entire week, and I can chill and do other things
Mhm.
those other days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it would be that like batch creating content on those days, editing, um, building skills. Um, of course, I would add school into that once I get into school. So it would be just about delegating. I don't know. My ideal day really would just to be like creative and then like
Live.
pray, be creative and live. And then like travel whenever I want to. Like that's like ideally what I want to do.
So I'm trying to get us to, I think it's so powerful to get us to manifest. We were talking about from broad to specific,
Yeah.
and now I think there's beauty in the specific.
Yeah.
So when you say you want to create content,
Mhm.
what is the goal that you want from the content that is being created? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's about the goal overall is really to inspire the collective. Like I really want to be that level of inspiration. Like I was telling Jess this, I changed my social media bios
Yep.
and it's like let me see, I'm gonna read it for y'all because I think it is so dope.
Mhm. Yes, baby.
And
Do
it
it.
feels so aligned because I'm like, I'm looking at my content and
Mhm.
the bio that I have, and it matches so perfectly. So it says, empowering self love and body liberation, fashion, healing, confidence, your guide to inner glow and divine vibes. So that's essentially what I want to give is
Mm.
that connection to divinity, connection to spirituality connection to spirituality through whatever medium it is. I don't care if it's through Christianity, Islam, or whatever.
Mhm.
It's about finding your inner divinity and your own confidence and creating the life that you desire. And it's almost like while I'm doing it for myself, the thing is, I I I used to have the ideology that like I have to have something to show for it in order
Mm.
for me to be able to inspire. When
Mm.
I think part of me being a storyteller is that as I'm going along, I'm picking things up and I'm sharing it. Like it's like, oh, I learned this. Okay, let me tell the collective. I learned this. Let me tell the collective. And
Yeah.
so it's I have I'm working on not judging myself
Hmm.
and like allowing that to be part of the content. And so, yeah, I think the goal is to inspire and uplift and teach others how to find that glow within themselves. And of course, I do think my abundance will come through that. The more that I show up in that light, the more opportunities can be presented. And like one thing that my Reiki lady said, shout out to Wilma from Chocobee, love her down. She was saying that like when you speak it to God,
Hmm.
miracles and the perfect opportunities can come to you.
Hmm.
We could be Jessica. You could be paid $2,000 to teach a writing seminar,
Hmm.
a poetry writing seminar.
Yep.
I can be paid $500 rooming, $5,000 lodging and flight paid to go lead a body liberation workshop. You know what I'm saying? Those are happy people need that all over.
Yeah.
The we won't be able to find those opportunities if we're not talking about it and showing
Hmm.
up in that way. And so that's been my thing is to like not be so ashamed and judge myself so harshly on where I feel like I should be and honor where I
Hmm.
am now and let what needs to come to me come.
And tell God what you want.
Tell God what you want for like literally
For
speak
real,
it into
for real.
like
Yeah.
literally say it, write it out if you need to, like
Mm.
write it out and like I mean this is more like I don't want to say witchy, but just more of a spiritual thing. If you want to like for those who are into candles, light a
Okay.
white candle, write something like write what you want, light it, put it under a candle, keep it there for 3 days. This is like super witchy, okay?
Good, girl.
But it's like essentially like fire is a form of like your passion and your drive. And so when you have your fire and your words together, it's like you're sending it out. I don't know.
Mm. And so that's how you view it in your approach. And I would say from my approach in Christianity, I would say similar thing. Like tell God there's just such because we didn't make ourselves, our creativity is an extension of what he's put inside of us. So he wants you to have it. He
Mhm.
just wants you to remember that he's the one who gave it to you. So just ask. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like kind of what you're saying, like the candle and things being burned and kind of like removed and things of that nature is like saying what you want and really not limiting God, not thinking that it's too big. That I think that's been my thing too, is just like, when they say when you're younger, you'll be like, I want to be the president. And little by little, you get jaded and you get quote unquote humbled by life and you
Mhm.
realize like what you want isn't always what's available. And I think telling God the big picture allows you to be content with the fact that you can have it all. It's just a different pace. Like, and
Yeah.
I think we lose our desires because we don't see it all happen at once, you know?
Mhm. Absolutely. Divine divine timing is not the same as our timing.
Mhm.
Like we put human expectations on spiritual experiences.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that ends up leading you to losing out on your faith because you're not holding on because you're like, "Oh, I thought it would happen in this amount of time. So why do I still want it if it's not happening? Never mind. I'm good. I'm just continue doing what I have to do."
Yeah.
But part of the lesson is like patience, yes, but also action, taking inspired action through the patience. So not stopping what you do.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, I put this out into the universe and don't sit back and be like, all right, that's enough. I mean, not that's enough, but all right, I'm going to wait and see if it happens. You
Yeah.
know, did you talk about the believe it? No, who said that I believe it when I see it? Hey,
I
you didn't
don't
say
know.
that, did you?
Mm-mm.
That's crazy. Maybe this is giving like
Deja vu?
no, am I hearing God? Is that what's happening?
Girl, I don't
That was
underestimate
crazy.
it.
It was like, I believe it when I see it. It was like that. I don't know
Mhm.
why that came to my brain, but I think that's a lot of like how we view things. A lot of us
Mhm.
are, I believe it when I see it. It might
Mhm.
have been a TikTok video, but either way, faith is trusting without seeing, or faith is let me see the con. There's a a quote.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hold on, I'm gonna find it. It was very good. Oh, you can't wait for the logic to believe. That's not faith. Faith is illogical. The proof comes after you believe. And so when we have faith, we that is that I'll believe it when I see it mindset. Well, we apply the I believe when I see it mindset to the faith. It's like, okay, once I know that it's going to happen, then okay, then now I can trust it.
Right.
But we end up spooking ourselves out of faith because we don't see the concrete, tangible results.
You have to hold on to God, because if not, you just stop walking. Like it just reminds me of like Peter, and he called him to walk on water. It's like if you don't see what's straight ahead and you don't let God guide you, the water's always going to be scary. Like, and I think water represents life. Like however you receive that metaphor, it is just so obvious that life gets hard, um and your attention gets diverted, your dreams get washed down. That there's just so many things, and I think I'm just learning, kind of similar to what you're saying, that like I don't know, I think I'm having more of an epiphany that God is the glue, and that my work life creative balance is, I don't know, I think I'm putting him into my equation more, when I used to think it was just my personal effort, and realizing it's both. Because there was a season where I was all like prayed up and like, okay, this could happen, but like you said, no inspired action. And now I feel like I'm in a position where I have both, and it's just a powerful feeling. Like it really,
Yeah.
you could do anything, you know.
Yeah, and on top of that, I do think like this is my personal opinion when it
Yeah.
comes to like how people view spirituality. A lot of it is like God is outside of you, and you have to like
Mm,
God, you have to like go to God.
mm,
But I think the a step above that is understanding that God is always talking to you and God is within you.
mm-hmm,
And so when you tap into your authenticity, when you tap into your intuition, when you tap into your creativity, the more you're aligned with what feels right to you, what fuels you, even if you're even if you're not a creative. Say you're like a super
mm,
like logical financial type of business person, right? You love business.
yeah,
You get excited about it. That's still your creativity. That's that once again, it's that playful energy. It's that
yeah,
fun energy. I'm spontaneous, I'm creative regardless of what avenue you go down, the more you are aligned in that aspect, the more God speaks to you. Not even that. God's always speaking to us. The more we can hear it. And so our alignment is
mm,
not so much like I have to step outside of myself to find God, but rather the more in line with myself, the more I find God in my life. You
mm,
know, the more present God is in these circumstances, I'm able to see it because it feels authentic and real. I feel alive and I feel nourished and I feel replenished. There's everything I need is around me. And
mhm,
so, um, yeah, I feel like it's important for all of us to know that, like, as much as God is the energy that we grab from, that we like pray to, the more we are aligned in who we are, the more we realize it's always there. We don't even need to call on it outside of us. We just have to call on our intuition to speak to us.
and like you said, whatever perspective it is, he's accessible. Like
Yeah,
it just equals the same thing in all languages
extremely,
and belief
extremely
system.
accessible.
He's accessible.
Mhm.
Um, Girl, I don't know. I feel, ooh, I needed that. I think when we were talking about our what we wanted for our futures in our 2025, I think through this conversation, I'm just realizing that I have more gratitude than requests, and like desires. I think I'm really in a place where I can feel things coming to me,
Mhm.
but I also am just so grateful for what I have. This is gonna sound crazy. So have you ever seen that TikTok of that little white boy on Thanksgiving? He's like, I'm just so grateful. He's like crying.
Yes. He's crying? Yes.
Girl. No, he
That's
looks,
me.
oh, I love it so much. When I tell you, that shit makes me laugh, like from my soul. I
So
stayed up one
sweet.
night and I watched that for like 20 minutes because I'm like, this is me.
So
This is me,
sweet.
you know? But
Yeah.
I really do feel that overwhelmed with, like, I don't know, I've been feeling really weird lately, and I think I'm just in a space of gratitude. Like the epiphany is epiphanying right now.
Epiphany. Yeah. And
Mm.
gratitude is what brings you more of what you
Mhm.
want. Like truly. People don't like gratitude is like the magic sauce. It's like what
Yeah.
makes your meal amazing. Like it's the finishing touch on what it's the finishing touch.
Yeah.
And when we continue to keep that in our like in the mix,
Yeah.
even in those small moments, like it's almost like everything starts to open up.
Mhm.
You're like,
Mhm.
oh wow, like I'm so grateful for this. Like it feels aligned. Like for example, when I go on TikTok live, I'll like do a little like collective message or whatever. And I'm just there to like spread vibes. Like I'll burn sage and I'll just like be like, listen, this is for you, cleansing you of any negative energy,
Yeah.
knowing that you are connected, that God is here for you. And so many people come in, they're like, oh, the vibes are so beautiful in here. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you. It's like, and
Mhm.
then it's like more people come because they feel that. Like when
Yeah.
you are grateful, people feel that
Yeah.
from you and they want to be around you and they want to be like, oh, I'm going to recommend you for like, recommend this girl for this because she just always has this spirit of excitement around her. And like,
Yeah.
that's what more people need to see that. More people need to feel that. It's contagious. And so
Yeah.
I stamp that.
Yeah. I think it's an epiphany because I didn't want it to come from a toxic positivity place. And I
Absolutely.
feel like it is authentic. Like I
Mhm.
feel like a lot of the things I think as Christians, as spiritual people, no matter what it is that you believe in, there's always this concept of like everything happens for a reason, be grateful, and to really just admit to the fact that some shit just wears you out. And
Mhm.
even though it's for your good, it's not the season where you can acknowledge it. You're literally just like, I feel like I've been hammering through life for like the
Mhm.
last 5 years. Like no like exaggeration. I personally feel like I have been just head down digging myself out for like 5 years, and I feel like I can see the light.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
feel like it's so beautiful to me, and that's why I said all I have is gratitude, because I mean it.
Yeah.
I mean it for once, and I'm not like just being like, okay, like I gotta say thank you because it's for my good. Like it's like, no, I can really truly say I've made it through
Yeah.
a lot. um,
Right.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it was supposed to be this conversation, but it's hitting me.
I mean, girl, you know me. I'm just letting it like I don't know. I'm just in the energy right now of letting it flow, man. Just let that shit flow. Like whatever comes up is what is meant to be discussed. And
Yeah.
like also on top of like what you were saying about like having gratitude, I think our society doesn't always allow for duality of being like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm going through it. I'm going through the mud, but also I'm grateful at the same time. It's like either
Yeah.
you're grateful or you're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either
Yeah.
you're upset or you're
Yeah.
grateful. You can't be both. Like you can't
Yeah.
have the emotion while also like being grateful at the same time. And it's like I am recognizing like I was talking to my mom about how I have very, very black and white thinking. Like it's
Mhm.
very specific. Like I'm a black and white thinker
Mhm.
and it has inhibited the way that I can grow forward, which is similar to what I'm saying about feeling like I have to be like at a place in order to inspire people. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
have to be settled so that I can, which is like, girl, what are we fucking talking about? Like we never stop having struggles and issues and emotional days and being sad. Like not every day is going to be amazing. And I think,
Mhm.
like you said, that toxic positivity has led a lot of us to believe that if you're not happy, then you like if you're not happy, then you're sad. If you're not sad, then you're happy, and you can't be both. It's like, no, I'm
Yeah.
going through it. There's so many things I want in life. However, I have this moment. I have this present time where I am grateful for being alive and well and having a connection to God and being able to talk to you on this podcast. Like literally, like
Mhm.
moment awareness in this moment. I'm talking to you.
Mhm.
This is going to go out to the community. Like,
Mhm.
is that not something to be excited about? Like, when you're looking outside of that moment to remember that you were sad before you got on here, it's like you just defeating the purpose. Now you've completely lost it. Now you're throwing yourself off. It's like be present in this moment and watch how your present moment awareness really shifts how your life goes, you know? Christ consciousness.
I
That's what Jesus did.
I can put a name on how I'm feeling. Like I told you, like, this week it's been weird. I've been having like a lot of anxiety. It doesn't feel
Mhm,
negative. It just feels
mhm,
unsettling.
mhm,
And I can just, through this conversation, I'm grateful. I think
mhm.
that's the feeling that I'm like, I made it through a lot of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, girl.
I'm
And
grateful.
anxiety, yeah, and anxiety is like is attempting to distract you for real, for real. Like anxiety is like, hey, remember all of these options, these things that can happen, right? You don't forget about all the things that could be happening. It's like, all right, that's enough of you. I'm grateful. All right, leave me alone. And you kind of have to, because that's, I mean, you know, we both struggle with anxiety, and it's really easy to be caught up in that. Like, especially with this like TikTok ban, right? Like I in the beginning of like the week, I was like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? My fit. And then I really thought, like, okay,
Yeah.
if you can create a community from scratch here, you can do that anywhere. You can
Yeah.
start over as many times as you need to.
Yeah.
Your voice and what you desire and what you want to get out into the collective will get out.
Hmm.
Like, there's a reason why I'm on social media. You know, there's a reason why people like me. And so it's not gonna stop. Like I'm just that girl. Like people gonna see
Period.
me. You know what I'm saying? And
Period.
so it's like we can allow that fear and that doubt and that anxiety, whatever it looks like for us, we can let it, we can be like, all right, I see you, but you are not who I am. I'm not going
Mhm.
to internalize you. It's almost
Mhm.
like being intentional about how anxiety manifests. Like that's been my biggest thing too, which is this is growth, because one thing about me,
Mm.
especially as an empath and a like a energy person, anxiety
Yeah.
used to eat me up real bad. But I don't know, I'm
Yeah.
just working through it.
Yeah. I think I don't know, I think we're in beautiful places, and I think, yeah, I went from thinking like, okay, I'm going to claim what it is that I want for my future. This conversation is one of manifestation, to it really turning into a reflection of, I'm damn. I know that sounds to say crazy to be like, damn, God is good, but
No,
he's good.
that you know me, I don't care.
I
Me
know.
and God be cussing, so I don't trip.
Oh, cuss. I'm working on that, but I think it's also naturally coming to me less because I'm kind of just like, I don't know, but I feel euphorically at peace,
Mhm.
and I'm
That's
happy
good.
about it.
That's good. You deserve that. You deserve to be at peace. This is it, like we said, this is a year of freedom, of ease, of
Mhm.
flow,
Yeah.
um, and letting ourselves be who we are in
Mm.
our entirety, in our fullness, and not trying to fit into a box. Like fuck a box. We're creating, we're shifting. Like the spiritual goes be saying, we're on a new timeline now. Like we really
Mhm.
we are ascending. Like we're not gonna play into what the energy of the world is. We're playing into our own personal energy and those who align with us. So that's where I'm at. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that we're here.
Girl. Yeah. We in
Mhm.
it. We in there, and I'm
Period.
grateful for you. And
Period.
y'all, we have been discussing season 2.
Mhm.
Season 2 is coming. It is going to look different, but in such a great way.
Don't tell them too
I'm not
much.
gonna tell them too much. What I'm saying is, we're here. We're queer, me,
Yeah.
and
One queer, one straight.
one queer, and one straight
Straight
heterosexual.
hetero.
And we are putting this enthusiasm into, like you said, the collective. So exciting. But yeah, girl.
Period. Love
Period.
it. Shout out to us. Thank y'all for being here. This is a wrap on season 1, y'all. Thank you for sticking with us through our elongated break. But
Mhm.
new year, uh, new content, but same mission, same focus,
Mm.
and same desire to build community. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned, y'all. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for
Bye.
coming. Fly talks. Fly
Fly
away.
away.
Damn it.
All right. Bye,
All
y'all.
right. And just a quick PSA, we'll be taking flight again this spring. Fly Talk Season 2 is dropping March 11th, so stay tuned and we'll see you soon.